chance to make it 28-3. Arthur Blank loving it. Up by 25. Toss to White. He's in! What a comeback!
All right, welcome to another episode of the 28-3 podcast. It is Carolina Panthers week
right.
1. So we're going to go ahead and talk about the game, give our predictions, kind of see how we feel the game is going to shake out. So,
Yep.
Corey, give me some thoughts. What do you think?
So the thoughts are, week 1, we don't really know
Anything?
It's the hardest week to predict, and we're going to do this every week of the season. This is kind of what we did last year. We might take a couple of fresh takes on how we actually do the predictions in this one, but especially with the Saints. Last year we didn't know what to think because we had a new quarterback, and anytime you've got a new starting caliber quarterback, new things, it's hard to know how that's going to shake out. This year, it's a new offensive coordinator. We're rolling out. It's new, but it's old, right? We're rolling out Trevor Penning again. That proved to be terrible in the first few weeks of the year last year. Rolling out the same quarterback in Derek Carr, which many thought was not great in the beginning part of the year, but then in the second half of the season, or at least the last quarter of the season, he proved to be pretty damn effective. We got the same running back in AK, same backup in Jamal Williams. A lot of the defense is the same, but, I think a lot is being put on whether or not this new offense can control the time of possession and give us a better shot at least keeping the defense off the field. And in terms of your opponent for week 1, there's not a lot of confidence coming out of Carolina. So hopefully the lack of confidence is for good reason, and we can potentially do some things against what should be, emphasis on the should be, inferior opponent. But again, it's the Saints in opening weeks, and we've seen worse happen against worse opponents.
Are you going to the game?
Probably. They're like $11 a ticket right now, apparently.
Are you going to the game?
I am going.
Hey, all right.
I haven't bought my ticket yet, but
Did you go to a game last year?
One game.
I used your
Did we
seats
win?
for one of them.
Yes. Who was that? What game was that? I did not go last year a lot. Still playing.
That's an understatement.
I'm glad to.
Yeah.
But, I am going to the game. I have to fly out that day, so I'll probably even have to leave early, which sucks. But we've talked a lot about the schedule, and the schedule is not kind to us in the beginning of the season. But the week 1 schedule is about as kind as it can get to get
on paper.
us. Yeah, but what else would you hope for than a team like this with all the new coaching staff on offense and the changes, and to get a game against an opponent that isn't great. They're not going to be great this year. Maybe we won't be either, but at least it's a team where, hopefully you can knock out a few of the kinks of, starting up a new offense, completely new offense, and everyone's role inside of that offense. So I think that's a big advantage for us. And quite honestly, maybe this is way out of bounds, but it's a must-win game because of the schedule, because the first half of the season is a brutal schedule for us.
Yeah.
Second half, if we survive that, then maybe we have a chance in the second half. But, Mahomes and Stafford again on the road, and, just so many tough games.
But even looking at the first 4 games, we can say we have
Cowboys, Eagles.
6 games against the NFC South as much as we want, but after this, Cowboys, Eagles.
Cowboys, Eagles, then Chiefs and Rams. And
we will not be favored against Cowboys, Eagles. And then after that is Falcons. And we
won't be favored there.
Yeah, even if we go 1-2 versus the first 3 games, we're not going to be favored against Falcons. And maybe we shouldn't be. So if you don't win this game,
right,
you're very easily looking at 0-3 before you.
Right.
We have the Falcons at home first. I forget.
And you lose this game. Falcons on the road or home, Max?
I think it's on the road, I believe.
Yeah, you're at Atlanta. So you got a road game against the Falcons.
Yeah.
After the first 3 games, like, you got to win this game.
You have to.
You have to. You have to.
Yeah.
There's no scenario where you lose this game and there's any optimism left at all.
Yeah.
Like the fan base, or at least the vocal minority fan base, the whole, hashtag the agenda pushers, these guys are fucking foaming at the mouth for Carr to fuck up.
I mean, but they're not like...
They will gain many more
they
people
will gain
in their
many more
corner
people
if
in the
they
corner.
lose this game. There's no doubt.
But
well, let me say this, though.
agenda aside, like, I mean, if we go 0-3, I don't think it'll just be
That's what I'm saying.
hashtag the agenda. It'll be everybody.
Yeah.
No, if you go 0-1, it's going to be everybody.
Yeah,
because
that's what
it's the
I'm saying.
Panthers.
Like,
This team
I mean,
should have had the first pick in the draft
I think
last
whether
year.
or not Spencer Rattler comes in is the least of your problems if you start off a season like that. It's the whole team at that point.
Yeah.
If you get to a point where you're losing to Carolina, there has to be failures up and down the board to where there's so many position groups you're criticizing at that point that should have done something different.
I feel like Carolina's going to be better than they were last year. Like, they can't be any worse. They can't be.
Well, you can't be worse, but they could very much be the same. That team did not get better.
They were a little bit better. They picked up a.
I think in the NFL, when you're already at the bottom,
they have to be better.
it can always be worse.
But what did they do that makes you think they got better?
They picked up a few tight ends. They picked up a few wide receivers.
Didn't they bring an offensive line help?
They lost their best defensive player.
They traded their best defensive player, which is kind of crazy. But
I don't see. I feel like that's a narrative for the whole division, other than the Falcons. I think all 3 other teams went backwards from last year, talent wise. Now,
I think the Panthers got better, with the exception of Brian Burns.
Brian Burns is an elite defensive end.
Didn't they jettison a top wide receiver?
Well, Thielen's still there.
Thielen's still there. Deontay Johnson is now probably
signed
the number
him,
one.
but,
You drafted Xavier Legette. You brought in Jatavian Sanders, the tight end from Texas. They drafted Jonathan Brooks, who's not going to play.
That's a lot of rookies you're telling me.
It's a lot of rookies, but it's still, they got better talent-wise on offense. They signed a few offensive linemen.
They
did get better
Signed
on
a couple
offensive line. I do think they're going to take us. They can't be worse than they were on offense. I think Bryce Young will be better in year 2, especially under Canales. Canales, you got to give him some credit for Baker's.
I don't. The only reason I say that is it wasn't a good offense. It was a bottom 15 offense. So yes, Baker looked a little better. The offense wasn't good. So is he that guy? I think it was the worst coaching hire of the offseason. I didn't understand him making that leap after 1 year as.
No, I agree with you on that.
I hope you're right.
I
don't know.
You're right. Yeah. No, I do think they got better. Like, they could not be any worse than the team was last year. Like, it was in disarray.
I think their record could be better without them being a better team. I think
they're a better team and don't have a better record.
I don't like Deontay Johnson as a signing. He's whatever to me. Very up and down guy. Drops a lot a passes. Kind of.
Well,
he's semi-troublemaker.
He struggled to break out as the
offensive line could make
one with, not great quarterback play, but with Pittsburgh last year, it was like.
But he went 30-something games without a touchdown or some crazy number. I don't think he's a difference maker. He's not. He's a piece. The offensive line signings could be the difference that makes them a better team. Then you're dependent on the rookies rising up. They just gave away the first pick. I just don't think they're a good team.
I didn't say they were a good team. I said they were a better team than they were last year.
Yeah, they might.
I think they win 4 or 5 games.
Right, and that's a terrible team.
To be fair, I don't think we win more than 7, so they're not very far off from us.
Yeah, but you're not trading our roster for them if you needed a win today.
Max is thinking about it.
3 years from now, maybe you would make that, but I'm just saying today.
The offense, I might actually trade our offense for theirs.
I would not. That's not even close.
Their wide receiver room.
Their wide receiver room might be the one worse than ours.
Their wide receiver room right now is what ours looks like if Olave gets hurt.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a bad wide receiver room there. Really bad.
And their running back room is what ours looks like.
No, their running back room is better than ours.
Well, they just drafted a rookie, and they still have Miles Sanders, right?
Yeah.
They have Miles Sanders.
So
didn't Chuba go down in training camp? Or making that up?
I don't know.
My point is, they were better in the running back room. We're better in the wide receiver room just because of Olave.
Right. We're better in quarterback room.
Yeah.
Quarterback room, yeah, for sure.
Offensive line, they were probably the worst in the league last year, but we might be competing for that this year. So I don't.
Their offensive line's better than ours.
I wouldn't say that yet. We'll see.
I mean, you just finished talking about how horrific our
It
offensive
is,
line
but
is. So.
remember how bad theirs. Bryce, I'm not a Bryce fan. He was assaulted. All
We
year
at least
long.
had guys. Yeah,
Yeah, he was.
it was. Yeah,
My point is, they're not taking a big leap. I think they jump up to 4 or 5 wins.
Do you think they're a bottom 5 team?
Yeah, they're somewhere between
yes.
like 5 and 8.
Well,
somewhere
that's
between that.
so. That being said, the first
That being said, I'm terrified about this game.
right because the first game we played them last year.
It's-
It was Monday night. It was in Carolina. It wasn't in the. Dome.
Haven't they beaten us in week 2 like the last 3 years?
I feel like our last 5 years, even dating back to Sean Payton,
We beat them both times last year.
our opening week is never
We did beat them last year. That's right.
never solid.
The 2 years
You
before
know,
that, we lost to them in
did.
week 2. Yeah.
I feel like we all have struggled with opening games to begin with.
Weird shit happens in week 1.
Yeah, like
It will happen this weekend. We just don't know to who.
But I still
even the
I'm
2018
still,
year, I think was the year. The no call year. Was that not the year we lost to the Bucks in week 1 in the Dome? I feel like we had a terrible week 1 that year, and it was just a fluke, and we turned it around. I could be making that up. For those of y'all who are new, like sometimes we don't always look stuff up real time, but
It's more
yeah.
fun to just talk out of our ass.
I don't know if know
Yeah.
if that's the year that happened, but
I don't think it was.
That was a 13 and
but
3 team.
there have at least been years where we
Under Peyton especially, we loved losing early,
Right.
And we'd rebound,
Right.
sometimes. But
So that's kind of what's in my head with games like this. Like, if we're not on our shit, if we are not 100% focused and treating, like, the Panthers, we can, the team can get it in their head, the outside noise, how this team is projected bottom 5, they might have the first pick in the draft again next year. All that, you can't, everyone says block out the noise, block out the noise. There's no way these dudes, the majority of which are under the age of 30, are truly blocking out the noise. Okay, so they hear it.
Agree. I will say, to piggyback that, if they lose this,
yeah,
that noise is going to be so loud, the confidence will be so low.
right.
That's when instantly out the gate we could be on a downward
The
spiral.
wheels are rattling.
Yes.
They aren't off, but they're rattling. So it's kind of like you need to be professionals in this game and take, you're not going to block out the outside noise, but take it and say, whatever the hell they say, we're going to just do our job, prepare for this team as professionals, prepare for this team as though they're the only game that matters this year, and go kick the heels off of them, whatever the hell.
I'm gonna say this: the Fire Dennis Allen crowd,
Which is us. We sell the shirt, shop.2083.podcast.com.
If we lose week 1, and then that Broncos Thursday night game comes around, and you lose that one, it's like the Fire DA train. Like goes.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that week 5 or week 6?
We'll do good with t-shirt sales.
Oh, yeah.
Shop.2023podcast.com. Get your Fire DA shirts. But yeah, that would ramp up.
It's
big time.
funny because
Yeah.
in the season preview episode, the last episode, we talked about our predictions for the record, and I had the lowest prediction. I said 7-10. And I said I don't think the wheels will ever fall off. But the one scenario for the wheels to fall off,
It's us. They can always
or
fall off.
if we go 0-1 against the Panthers, you lose that game. That's step number 1.
Yeah.
Step number 2 is probably losing to the Cowboys, the Eagles,
Both.
the Chiefs.
But
Losing the games you're supposed to lose on paper.
yeah.
And then you get to that Thursday night game, and if Sean Payton comes in here,
Is that week 5? What week is that?
It's week
5
5
or
or
6?
6.
No.
It's 6, right?
No, Sean Payton's week 7.
week 7. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it could be long over before that.
No, that is the death blow. That is like the
He could put the death blow. He could
Yeah.
he
That
could be
is
the Mortal Kombat finish him moment.
yeah.
You know,
In
it would be
the
the most
dome.
Peyton thing ever. He comes in at 1-5, and
What
we're like 2-4.
And he still kills
He
us.
gets DA fired, and then gets fired at the end of the season and comes back.
It'll be like when you.
Would love it. Would love it. Please make it happen.
Oh God, I don't even know about that.
Oh God, that would be fucking amazing.
Yeah, how ironic would it be if the guy who posted
It would be-
plaster "do your job" of his own face on the interior, the indoor practice facility is the one guy who comes in here and says, Finish him.
It'd be even funnier when he hires DA as his DC.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm fine with DA as the defensive coordinator.
Turns out there's no jobs. We're going to bring him on back. He's going to be the DC.
I am fine with that.
If the Broncos ever have Carmichael and DA on their staff, like, have fun with that. Okay, we know how
He'd bring Carmichael back here too.
we know how this story ends.
He don't give a
He
fuck.
probably would.
It'd be the funniest shit ever.
Well, no. So I think another thing to throw in this year, we like to bet around here, and I think maybe we can kind of look at the lines and see what the odds are. On
Yeah, we can throw y'all some betting lines each week as we do these profiles. There's the thumbs up thing
What is
again.
What's the line?
We're trying
4?
to fix that for video, by the way.
Well, we don't know that actually showed up on there.
No, I think it did.
I feel like the line should be 4.
The line's 3.5.
Okay.
So
It went
it
down.
tells
It
you
went down.
It tells you on a neutral field,
Wasn't it 4?
we'd only be favored by 0.5.
Yeah.
So
pretty
which
telling.
jives with what I'm saying about these two teams? Like they are
Yeah.
not that far off.
So what do you know?
So like I'm looking at these lines, and
someone's got a gun to your head, and your life savings are in FanDuel right now. What are you going with?
I mean, let's take a look at this. So Bryce Young, they got the over under for yards at 199.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's low.
That's
Yeah,
what
but-
said. That's pretty,
exactly. That's low.
pretty low.
Carr's only 229, which is I feel like where he
That's accurate.
lived last year at
But-
around that 229.
If you're
you and I won a lot of money with Carr.
But I was
going
gonna
to
say, if you're gonna beat the Panthers in like our fashion, I'm okay with him going under 229. I'm okay with Carr throwing for 180 if it means you're controlling the clock, running the ball.
He needs to be around 230 if we're
Yeah.
going to be winning games, I
Yeah.
think. The 330 games for Carr, I think we're losing
But
those
depending
games.
on the team, like if we're playing KC,
One touch. Yeah, but, dude, I think we murder him on defense.
We
That's not to
should.
say we win.
Should,
so
but-
what are you showing Nick here? So
Well, so we're looking at Bryce Young, the over under in touchdown passes is 0.5. So it's like
I'd go over.
that's kind of
He threw, what, 9 last year?
he didn't throw many, but
Something like that.
Yeah.
He was rough last year.
look at Kamara and Chuba, 56 and 54.
That's accurate,
Rushing
I
yards?
think.
I know,
Yeah.
but it just tells you like there's not
That-
much respect for
that's
either
a-
of these offenses as far as like
No, there shouldn't be.
right. So
This could be
What's Olave?
64 and a half.
Well,
I bet
also-
that.
okay,
That'd be
wait.
my bet.
So
65
Yeah,
yards for
so
Olave.
Corey, to answer your question right now, and I agree with you. I agree with Nick on this. I think the bet that's jumping out to me right now is the over under Chris Olave yardage of 64.5. I think for this offense to really do anything, that dude's going to have like at least 80 yards.
yeah,
He's going to be 10 targets a game, probably.
He's getting
in this offense.
he's going to
So-
get flooded
and he's
with
also
targets.
going to get some bonus yardage out of the whole idea of like in the call it Kubiak, call it West Coast, Shanahan, whatever. The idea of throwing the 5-yard slants as run plays, like a 1 to 3 step drop, throw it to the slant. So he's even if he gets his downfield targets or his deep crossers or drag routes, call it, and say he gets 60 yards out of those over the course of the game, just out of those designed pass made out to be a run play, like pass/run plays, he's going to get like 20, 30 yards bonus out of that. Or should.
I also
But-
love Shaheed over under 35.5 yards. That's one catch for him.
Well, Shaheed, until proven otherwise, he's boom or bust, right? Like, so you're going.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
he's also the only other viable receiving threat.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't say a whole lot about our offense as a whole.
It really doesn't.
But if you're betting on Shaheed, you're thinking, okay, if he
But they're going to throw him 2 shots a game.
If he gets the one deep pass, he's
Right.
over. If he doesn't, he's under. Like that's kind of the betting line. But as an offense as a whole, yeah, you'd like to see that over under higher because you would hope that your number 2 is at least at the 50-yard mark. But I will say this, because going back to like betting or otherwise, not hating on betting. I mean, we all do it, right?
Damn right.
And we all want to know what our lines are. But if we recall,
You had a thought there. What is it?
I'm getting there. If you recall, like last year or the year before, ever since the preseason has gone to 3 games, and even before that, when they started,
These games suck. Week 1 games suck.
Implementing those rules that make training camp less physical, you see these first 1 to 3 weeks of the regular season,
Terrible.
the teams are not clicking yet.
Yeah.
They are not.
Week 1 is an extension of the preseason.
Right. So you got to factor that in to what's happening in the in the regular season. We don't talk about that enough.
Offenses start off slow traditionally in the new 17
So those numbers are
game.
terrible. Like if you said, let's say they all hit their over-unders. Olave has 60-ish. Shaheed has 35. Carr has 229. We're thinking like, that's horrible. But it could be enough to win because everybody is just down a level.
If the defense does what the defense is capable of doing,
Right.
and
That's
comes out, they should.
It could just be
They
a
should throttle this team.
defensive struggle type of a game.
This is 17 points wins, I think.
No one is going to
Agreed.
be, we want to talk about the agenda. We want to talk about the haters on Carr, etc. Whatever. No one's going to come out of this game saying, "Oh, I was wrong. Carr's the guy." Or
No.
It's just going to, even if we win, it'll be emboldened more that we could do better than Derek right now, and that's just because we got a new offense. It's week 1 of the regular season, which is nowadays an extension of the preseason. So it's not going to look this week, no matter what. The one prediction we can make with almost utter certainty is that this week will not look anything like it will in week 7, 8, 9, 10.
For either team, right.
You know?
I mean, it's
So that factors into it too.
going to be a boring game, most likely.
Yeah.
Well, let's do this. Let's roll into the predictions. So, for anyone who is new here, what we usually do is we each pick an offensive MVP, defensive MVP, and we give a projected stat line for a set player. So, and we also predict the final score as well. So we keep tally of it throughout the season. I don't remember. We were ahead of Corey. I remember that.
Yeah, I ended up winning by 2, I think. You got really down on the team, and they started winning at the end of
I
the
think he
season.
made like a strategic win.
He said, "I'm betting a lot."
Yeah.
He said, "I'm betting us to lose the rest of the games
That's
of the
what
season."
it was. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got high on your high
I would.
horse.
Well, no, I was hoping that it would lead to the end of DA, and it obviously didn't do that. So
Yeah, quite the opposite.
quite the opposite. But why don't we dive into that? Give me, Corey, you go first. Give me your offensive MVP, defensive MVP, predicted stat line,
All right.
and score prediction and winner.
I'm going Saints win 17-10. My offensive MVP will be Taysom Hill. Hard to say what Taysom what his stats are going to be, but let's say he's got one of our touchdowns. I don't even yardage is so hard with Taysom.
Yeah.
Call it 60 total yards. You know, I don't think he's gonna have a monster game. No, fuck it, 80 total yards because 60's not MVP level.
220 yards.
It's not gonna be fireworks by any stretch.
All right.
I think your defensive MVP is gonna be. Alontae Taylor, the nickel. They're going to run him on some DB blitzes, and he's just going to be breaking shit up over the middle.
Okay.
Give him one INT.
Oh, an INT.
Oh, all right.
Doubling his career total? Would that double?
Hey, when you're playing Bryce Young.
All right, go ahead, Max. What you got?
All right. I'm gonna say win.
Right.
I'm gonna say 20-17. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a real close game. It's going to come down to a fourth quarter field goal by Groupie.
Whew. How long?
45.
He's going to do it.
He's going to hit a 45-yarder.
Time expiring or
within the last minute.
Defensive kind of hold.
Defense kind of holds, does the thing at the end.
Big difference there.
Offensive MVP, I think Taysom. I agree with you. I think this is the year we get to see what Taysom could have been, in this style of offense, without that sideshow of possibly being a quarterback. I think that's finally been put to rest, and I think this is where we're going to see him fully unveiled. You're seeing all the articles. We saw, I think, Duncan wrote one. Somebody else wrote one talking about, how Taysom's numbers are off the charts relative to everybody else in the team when it comes to strength, speed, explosion, all that shit. I think he's getting stronger as he gets older, which is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, look at DeMario.
Yeah, exactly.
It
so
can happen.
I think Taysom has 2 touchdowns. I think 80-ish yards. Yards, yeah, the yards for him.
I'm laughing because when you're predicting Taysom, it's just
yeah, I think it's more the touchdowns.
it's such a tough call.
Yeah, and I think they're just they're backbreaking scores. You know what I mean? Like they demoralize.
He's the third down. Like you might get 6 yards on a play, but it's on a 3rd and 3 where you're convinced they're running it, and then there's Taysom.
Yeah, he's going to truck somebody, and it's going to be on the highlight reel. So I'm going to go Taysom with the offensive MVP, 2 touchdowns, 80-ish yards. Defensive MVP, man, I got to go with Chase Young. I got to roll with the preseason prediction.
You need to start getting your stats up.
Yeah, we got to start. We got to start getting them up, and this is the perfect game to do it.
Max's defensive MVP for every game, Chase Young,
with multiple sacks.
Yeah. I
So-
mean, it's going to happen.
I think Chase comes out with 3 sacks to get the season started.
Okay, so that alleviates your DMVP for maybe the next game. I mean,
He's going to pop up a lot on this
That's fine.
category.
That's
Just
fine.
letting you know.
Look,
Let's hope he does. Let's hope he's not injured after week 1.
I'm good with it. I'm good with it. Before Nick gets into his, I just want to give a shout out to the since the video picks up shit like this now, the flipping through of the legal pad. We're modern technology. Maybe we got this nice little green screen right here.
We got a nice little thumbs up. For some
thumbs up.
reason
I'm
on
going to
there.
shut that shit off. But we're still pen and paper. Damn it, with our predictions. So
That's what we do.
Well, time out. While we're giving shout-outs, let's go ahead and give a shout-out to Nick's son, James.
oh God, we should have done this at the beginning of the episode.
For reading the room better than anybody.
I don't know how
in
he did
this room.
I don't know how he did this.
Yeah.
Maybe the best hot take of the year, or not even.
It wasn't a hot
not
take.
even a
It
hot
was
take.
just a.
We'll get out.
It was an observation.
Another fact.
We'll go ahead and post this one on social media for everybody else to enjoy. It's a good one. Anyway. So, Nick, what you got?
Coming for you, James.
Saints 23-16.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to say it's Carr.
Sounds like a handicapper score there.
Carr goes 230, 2 touchdowns.
Right at the over. at
Yeah,
that.
over on both. And I'm going to say Lattimore has an INT
That was close to
setting us
Lattimore,
up for a score. That's mine.
Okay.
We're bringing Lattimore back.
Hey, he's got to come back at some point. I told y'all that hip flexor, you can recover from it.
Corey did, almost.
I did.
All the way to a podcast.
All the way. All the way to the bar exam. And, here we are. It's good, high hopes for you there, Marshawn.
Yeah, look, my closing thoughts on this, I'm terrified of this game.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking.
It is nerve-wracking. It's week 1. Weird shit happens in week 1. I don't trust this team entirely. The only reason I think we win is because I trust the defense. I think, Carolina did get a little bit better, but they're not at all good. So this defense should be able to bully the Carolina Panthers offense.
I think
And I believe in Taysom.
they should dominate. If the run defense is better than improved from last year, which we all think it is with the additions in the interior line, you got to think it's going to be very difficult for Bryce Young to succeed against the secondary.
Yeah.
So
agree.
That's where I think it comes from. I think they get us in good field position spots, giving the offense a good chance to get some points, maybe a little easier. I mean, I still had to settle in for 3 field goals. I think that's probably accurate. I just, hopefully, I think we all had a score in 2 touchdowns. Let's see. I don't think it's going to be a dominant game. I don't think it's going to look awesome. I think it's probably going to be just, I think we're a little better than them, even though it's the first game of the season. And if it's not, I think it's a reflection on how the season's going to go. If we lose this game, like we said earlier, I think this is going to be a very rough go. If you can't win this one, it's trouble. It's real trouble.
And look, we know that Kubiak kept everything pretty vanilla in the preseason.
It's their first game too, so they're going to be rusty too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think Kubiak's going to come out and send a message and show multiple formations, shifts, motion, and I think you're really going to see what Taysom can do.
I hope so. I mean, put it this way: if you don't come out on top of this one,
There's problems.
You're depending on overachieving. You're depending
time.
on lucking out against the Cowboys, hoping that Dak has one of those 5 interception games, hoping that the Eagles lay a dud like they did in the early part of last year, or was it the latter part? Whatever they did. There was a stretch where the Eagles weren't the Eagles, and then you're hoping that you go on the road to Atlanta, and it's the first game since you ran a touchdown when you were supposed to kneel on it, right? Like, you don't think...
Oh, God. Now I'm reminded of DA apologizing.
Yeah.
Fuck him.
I mean, like, the Falcons... It takes a lot for the Falcons to actually give the Falcons fans a reason to be motivated. Like, you don't think that week 4, even that fan base, like, they're going to... It sucks. It sucks to even admit it, but, like, they're going to be replaying the fake kneel down like crazy. I mean, you have to win this game to at least give yourself a chance to... Yeah, I mean, I could go on and on.
It kills me because...
There's so many reasons.
Sean Payton made a commercial talking about eating... What was it? The Falcon... Yeah, on the menu.
It was like a first NBC commercial. It was a bank commercial, too. It wasn't even like a national deal.
See, that's the difference. I need my coach doing that shit. I don't need my coach apologizing to our most hated rival.
I tweeted this out earlier today, and I said, if people who actually want to get behind DA and Carr are still confused as to why people have an issue with both of them, there are 2 guys on our team who we know at least have made public their communication with our biggest rival. Carr said on the field that he congratulated Bates on that pick 6 last year. DA made public that he communicated to the Falcons that he said, I'm sorry for what we did. And we still want to ask why we kind of have some issues with those 2 when we play, especially when we play the Falcons. I mean, like, I know there's a lot else on the table for those 2 guys. There's play on the field, there's coaching, there's the defensive acumen of DA. But at the end of the day, like, those dudes need to show up and show out against that team this year more than anything else. I know this is a Panthers preview, not a Falcons preview, but if we don't win the Panthers game, we're gonna have some shit to deal with against the Falcons.
Yeah, I mean, it's what I would
You can
never
say it's whatever,
apologize.
but it's bullshit.
I would
mean,
never apologize. At the same time, it was a complete douche move on my part too. So I would never choose to go apologize and be like, it is what it is. Like, whatever, move on.
You can think that in your head, but just don't.
It's easier to have that swag that Peyton had when number 9 is who you're snapping the ball to. So
it's like
let's
at
least give a little
in the group of friends is like,
hold me back.
Like, and there's like, you got behemoths behind you, like,
it's different.
Come at me, bro.
Now, the Peyton confidence, I far prefer. I think everyone in a who's ever watched the Saints game prefers it. There's no doubt.
He's a natural at it. He's not faking it. Anytime
Yes.
he was a douchebag, but he was our douchebag.
Yes.
Yeah. Anytime DA tries it's obvious that it's not genuine. Like,
But like I
He
said,
doesn't try it.
it is easier to be that way when you've got that guy running the ship.
Yeah.
So, for whatever that's worth. I think we're all in agreement of where we stand on DA and all of that.
Yeah. And we don't need to rehash that.
He got his second chance. This is his third chance, which we all said he shouldn't have gotten. I believed he should have got the second season. He does not, in my opinion, done anything to necessarily deserve the third season. We're all kind of in agreement where we stand on that right now. So
DA is the coaching equivalent of Isaiah Foskey. He has done nothing.
No,
he's good at something.
No,
he's good at something.
DA brings something to the table. Foskey brings nothing.
Had to throw that out there.
So
there's a big difference.
For me, just to sum it up, must win. The season immediately gets a little sketchy if they lose this game because
it gets a lot of sketchy.
I don't know how you pull out of it in the next 3 weeks. Maybe you win one you shouldn't, but you're still 1-3 going into a very difficult October.
Yeah.
This is one. If the season's going to be anything, you simply have to win both Carolina games. You probably have to win both Bucs games. You have to split with the Falcons. If you don't start there, this season doesn't get to Corey's 10. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So
they might not get to my 7.
Right. Week 1, it usually this isn't usually a scenario we see, but week 1, yes, this season could be off the rails instantly in week 1 because of it's a must. It's a game you have to win.
Agreed. Yeah. Final thought: must win.
Yep.
That's the easiest way to put it. It's a must win. There's you guys perfectly
and again,
illustrated why. There's no.
And I'm not even one to say I need us to beat the piss out of them. I don't care.
Just win. Just win.
I don't care how we do it.
No.
I will have no aspersions. Like, I'll have no preconceived notions.
Win with a safety. Win 2-0. Don't care.
Yeah.
Win that one. Find a way to win one of the other three. Come out 2-2.
Exactly.
Get it, and then just keep the ship afloat.
Just
And then give yourself a chance once you get past
this
October.
one, however you have to do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, with that, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. We'll be back next week with the Panthers review episode.
Yep.
Hopefully it's a good one. Fingers crossed. I'm praying.
Yeah. If it's not a good review recap of a win, then we will.
There might be a big bottle of whiskey right in the middle of the
We might
table.
be shouting. And
Probably will be.
We might be wearing #the agenda shirts.
I will never wear that. You'll see me with a Fire Dennis Allen shirt, though, pretty quickly.
We have those.
Yes.
We have those for purchase.
Yeah. So,
All
with
right.
that, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks again for listening to another episode of the 28-3 podcast. Who dat?
What a comeback!